Your best leads are probably not at the top of your Instagram inbox. The person at the top may have replied to your story 10 seconds ago with a fire emoji, but the person 30 conversations lower has answered all of your qualifying questions, they said they were ready, and they asked how to book a call with your team. But Instagram only shows the newest messages first, so if your setter is working from top to bottom, and then the inbox is currently deciding who gets attention first and not your systems. And in this video, I'm going to show you the exact system that I would use to manage Instagram DMs when they are a serious sales channel. So I'm going to give you the lead stages, the priority order, the ownership rules, and also the daily routine that I give to my team that you can also use. Because being busy in the DMs is not the goal. The goal is turning the right conversations into money. So this is why working from top to bottom breaks. Imagine you post a story and 50 people message you. Some people send a compliment, some ask for a free training, some are curious but not serious, and a few are actually a good fit for what you sell. And at first, you will always just respond to the person that just came in. So nobody waits too long and the inbox looks active. But sales conversations work differently. One person has just entered, another person is maybe halfway through being qualified, another person already asked you for a Calendly link, and another person received a link yesterday, but he didn't book a call yet. And if all 4 conversations are treated the same way, then your team will probably spend too much time starting new conversations and not enough time finishing the important ones. This is why a setter can work for 8 hours and still not book enough calls. He's working really hard, but the order and how he works is just simply wrong. So this is how to solve it. Step number 1. Give every conversation a stage. The first thing that I would do is stop treating the inbox as one giant list. Every conversation should have a stage. And you don't need all of the complicated stages. You can start with 7 simple ones. A new lead, in contact, qualified, follow-up, link sent, booked call, and customer. A stage answers one question. Where's this person now in the sales conversation? And it should not describe their personality. It should not describe what the setter feels. There's no summary there. It should just describe what happened. So qualified means that the team has enough evidence that this person is a good fit. Calendar link sent means the next job is no longer qualifying him again. No, it is to help him book a call and make sure he books the call. And follow-up means the conversation should be followed up with at a specific time, instead of your team having to remember it. And if the stage is unclear, then the next action will also be unclear. Step 2, build the priority order. Once the stages exist, decide which ones get attention first. So here's the order I would normally use for a business that books calls through Instagram. First, people who are qualified and are actively waiting for an answer. Those are your most important leads. Second, people who receive the calendar link but have not actually booked a call with you yet. Third, follow-ups that are due today. Fourth, active conversations where the setter is still qualifying the person. And 5, new leads that are coming in. So this does not mean that new leads should be ignored. It means that a new compliment from a new lead should not hide somebody who already told you they want help and asked for the next step. Sometimes a qualified lead is just simply more important than someone that replied a fire emoji on your story. The closer somebody is to a real decision, the more expensive it is to make them wait. The business already created the content, you earned a reply, you spent time on the conversation. So losing that person because a newer message arrived at the top of the inbox is one of the most avoidable leaks inside of Instagram DM sales. And most businesses are still focusing on the lead that just came 5 minutes ago. So let me put 5 conversations on the screen. One person sent the fire emoji 10 seconds ago. One asked for a free training. One is halfway through the conversation. One is qualified and he's still waiting for an answer. And one received the calendar link yesterday but did not book a call. The order is not newest to the oldest. The order should be the qualified person that is waiting, then the calendar link follow-up, then the active qualification call, then the new freebie request, and then you move on to the fire emoji compliment. So the same 5 DMs, but completely different results because the team can now finally see who deserves attention. Step number 3, give every active conversation one owner. The next rule is ownership. Every conversation should have one clear owner. So if you work with big teams, it should be clear who is handling this conversation. So you don't say, my setters are handling it, or not, whoever sees this message first is handling it. No, you need one person and hold that person accountable. Because when nobody owns the chat, 2 things will happen. Either two setters are in the inbox, they both reply and the conversation feels messy, or both setters will assume that somebody else is handling it and nobody replies. So ownership should change only if there's a clear handoff. So if setter A hands the conversation to setter B should know why, what has already happened, and what the next action is. So if someone is away, let's say setter B is on vacation, their conversations needs to be reassigned before the day starts. A warm lead should not wait because the owner happens to be offline or one of your team members is on a vacation. And if somebody becomes a customer, the team should be able to see who owned that conversation without arguing through screenshots later and fighting about commissions. Step number 4, run 3 inbox passes every single day. I would not ask the setter to stare at one long inbox all day. I would give them 3 passes, okay? Pass 1 is the money pass. So you start with qualified leads, Calendly link sent, and anybody actively asking for the next step. Pass number 2 is the commitment pass. So complete every follow-up that is due today and every conversation where the team promised to come back to them. And pass number 3 is the new conversation pass. So you can answer new people, qualify them, move them to the right stages. And then you repeat that cycle later in the day. And if you do that 3 times, you handle the entire inbox without you feeling overwhelmed, without you having to check the inbox every 5 minutes. So this protects the warm conversations without letting new leads pile up forever. It also makes coaching your team much easier, because if bookings are low, the manager can now ask, what happened? Did the team find enough qualified people? Yes or no? Did we send enough calendar links? Did we follow up after the link? And all of these things are much more useful than just screaming at your team, telling them to reply faster. Step number 5, create an aging rule. So the last manual rule is aging. Every important stage needs a point where waiting becomes a problem. For example, a qualified lead waiting for an answer should become visible before the end of the day. A calendar link sent with no booking should create a follow-up action. A conversation left in contact stage for several days should be reviewed, because we need to know, is the setter still qualifying him, or is the person waiting for an answer, or is the conversation just dead? The exact timing depends on your business. The important part is that silence also creates an action. Without an aging rule, conversations can look active forever while nobody is actually pushing the conversation forward. And usually people do this manually, but it has a limit. You can run this with labels, spreadsheets, and maybe a micromanager on top of you. But once you have 50 or 100 conversations moving forward at the same time, multiple setters, then the manager becomes the system. And that is just simply unscalable. They have to remember who is qualified, check who owns what, notice which follow-ups are late, and keep telling the team what to do. And they are looking at end-of-day reports all day. The process works only if you have a really good manager that is 24/7 watching over the setters. And that is usually a remaining problem. So Mochi turns this system into one inbox. Mochi will organize the conversations into the stages we just covered. So new lead, contact, qualified, follow-up, calendar sent, booked call, and customer. Look at the screen as I move from new leads to qualified leads. The conversations did not change, the work order did. I can now focus on the qualified leads first, and therefore probably make more money instead of just replying to the new people. Each conversation can have one clear setter that's responsible for it. So instead of Instagram deciding the work order for me through recency, the team can actually start with the people closest to a booked call. And the qualified person does not disappear in your inbox because 50 new story replies came in. The manager can see who owns the conversation, where it is in the sales process, without opening every chat. And the setter does not need to keep the entire inbox inside of his head. And that is the real value of a priority inbox. It is not the prettier way to display your DMs. No, it changes which person gets the team's time first. The same setter can work the same number of hours, but more of those hours will actually be productive because he will spend this time with people who are actually moving towards a call or a purchase. So the conclusion is, if your team works from top to bottom, the newest message will always win. But you gotta build stages, you gotta set the priority order, you have to give every conversation one owner. You need to run the passes 3 times a day, the money pass, commitment pass, and the new conversation pass. And you need to create an action if an important lead has been waiting for an answer for too long. So Instagram only shows the newest message first, but your sales system should show who is the most important lead first. And if you want those stages and ownerships and priorities built into the same place that your team is working in, then you can try Mochi for free for 14 days. The link is down here in the description and in the comments.